grab your glass and get to your seat. And I'll tell you about the ballad of Big Ass Little and Yukon Pete. Now, Little was the village queen, the fuckingest whore you've ever seen. While some girls fucked with grace and ease, Little blew dick like the summer breeze. But when she fucked for keeps. She piled her victims up in heaps. There was a rumor going around that town that no man could put Little's ass down. But way up north where the Twin Rivers meet, lived a one-bald half-breed named Yukon Pete. Pete was a dirty, motherless soul. He fucked bears, sheep, and woodchuck holes. He got a whiff of big-ass Little, packed his rubbers, and came down the hill. Now he strode into town with size 32 feet, dragging 16 yards of that red-hot meat. The scene was set at Windy Mill, by the brick shit house high on the hill. All the ladies came early to get a ringside seat just to watch that half-breed sink his meat. Well, they fucked and they fucked and they fucked for hours, uprooting trees, shrubs, and flowers. Little did front flips, back flips, and stunts, all unknown to most common cunts. But Pete caught on to every trick and just kept pumping in more dick. Then Little gave Pete the whorehouse squeeze and dropped that half-breed to his knees. But Pete came back with the Yukon grunt that popped out her eyes and split her cunt. Little rolled over, cut 2 farts inside, said, "Boys, I've been fucked. I'll cut one more and die." They asked that half-breed of his amazing feat. He just said, "Boys, I'm going back to the Yukon and beat my meat." But there's more to the story. Listen up and I'll tell. It's called The Revenge of Big-Ass Little. Now, Little had a sister named Tight Twat Tina. She was a little bit slimmer, but a whole lot meaner. She saddled her mule and rode into town. She stood at the square and she pulled her pants down. She yelled, "Where's this bastard named Yukon Pete? It's time for his dick to go down to defeat." He fucked Little to death and called her a whore. Well, now it's about time I even the score. Well, Pete heard the challenge, and he rode to the square where he found Tight Twat Tina just scratching her hair. So he whipped out his dick and pumped out a load, knocking that bitch right into the road. But Tina just got up, shook off the sperm, said, "Not bad, boy, but now it's my turn." She grabbed hold of his cock and gave it a twist. A French wad of cream oozed into her fist. She stroked it with fury. She stroked it with lust. She made it keep coming until there was dust. Pete had a grin, but his pecker was limp. Tina yelled, "Look, ladies, it's the Yukon Shrimp." Pete was a howling and holding his balls, but he said that was just the first of 3 falls. So he pumped up his Puda and found Tina's slit. Not even with a crowbar would it fit. So he spit in his hand and greased up his pole, and once again aimed for her tight little hole. Tina just rolled over, lay in the street, leaving Pete standing there a-slapping his meat. "Roll over," cried Pete. "I'll be fucked if I do," cried Tina. "You'll be cornholed if you won't," cried Pete. And cornholed she was by a yard of Yukon cock. When Pete got done humping, Tina's intestines were in shock. Now the score was all even in this battle of lust, but Pete had a pecker all covered with crust. Tina yelled, "It's my turn. Get down on your knees. Get prepared for the Indian squeeze." He strode up beside her with nonchalance and ease. Shit.
There we go. We're back. My bad.
Okay.
Where
The smell of his... Ready?
Yeah.
We'll just pick it up. We'll splice it together somehow if I ever use it. 1, 2, 3. The smell of his balls almost made Tina gag, but she kept giving him head till she emptied his bag. She yelled, "Still my turn, get down on your knees, get prepared for the Indian squeeze." She strode up beside him with nonchalance and ease. Pete found himself buried deep in twat cheese. He struggled for a while, but her grip was too firm. His nose was up in places never seen by a sperm. And then Pete fell down. All the ladies gave a cheer. Then he did a sudden handstand and stuck a boner in her ear. His balls slammed up against her head. His dick was touching brain. Tina just said, "Keep fucking, boy, I've always been insane." With one last try, Pete gave his best. He tried the Yukon grunt. It might have worked, but his nose was what was up her cunt. Tina yelled, "You chauvinist pig, you finally met your match. My name is Tight Twat Tina. I got a bear trap for a snatch." That's it.
When's the last one? Okay, cool. This is called Suck My Ass, Einstein.
Well, of course it is.
I will be rejected by the Academy. I will be rejected by you and yours. You will cut up my books with the sharpest scissors that your university wit can muster. You will burn my words on your firefly bonfire of scathing criticism. But I'll have the final laugh, you disdainful whale-heeled cocksucker. Listen, you will never have a clue aside from the one I'm handing you. You're the secret punchline that's been keeping me laughing hysterically all these years. And above all, you ghastly twat-faced mongrel, your refusal to laugh at yourself means that others will gladly do it for you. Now, I don't really care which dainty academic sphincter you want to cram my writing into, and don't you dare call me anti-intellectual, because if I saw a real intellectual within a 20-mile radius of your university, I'd shit my pants. So go ahead and pontificate against my writing, wear your disdain for me like a string of phony pearls, but I'll always have the upper hand, because I'm down here in the trenches living out my words instead of wasting my life criticizing those of others.
Hi, I'm the Easter Bunny. I'm here to say a few words about Homeland Security. Now that the United States Constitution has been turned into toilet paper, even the Easter Bunny has to watch her step. But fortunately, I've been drafted into the service of the powers that be. Now everyone knows that if you don't believe in the Easter Bunny, you'll go to hell. Why do you think the Iraqis are ultimately going to get their butts kicked? Because they don't believe in me. Why couldn't we have picked an opponent in a predominantly white Christian nation? Well, because they'd have the good sense to believe in the Easter Bunny, as well as my colleagues, the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, and Uncle Sam. But since we're dealing with a largely non-Christian population, let's just blow the bastards to smithereens. It's not like they have souls or anything. You know, I've had this job for a long time. It's not like the Easter Bunny has term limits. I've left so many eggs on so many lawns all around the world, it'd make your head spin. If NASA ever gets it together, I'll be leaving eggs on the moon. And you know, when you've laid that many eggs, you know how sore you can get. There aren't enough massage parlors on this planet to take care of it. And why do I do this? Is it to make the children's faces light up with glee on Easter morning? Hell no! I couldn't care less. I do it because I'm an American. So when the federales came around asking me if I'd put grenades in all the eggs I left in the Middle East, I naturally hopped on the bandwagon and started loading those mothers right and left. Remember the last time we talked? And I mentioned that the Easter Bunny Coalition is behind all those apparitions of the Virgin Mary? Well, I sent exploding blessed virgins to appear all around the Holy Land just as a reminder. You screw with America, you go kaboom! Another Easter season is upon us. And this time we're not messing around. You'd better believe in God, country, mom, apple pie, and above all, the big white bunny. Are you going to be wearing shrapnel in your Easter bonnet? And now that I've got the might of the United States military behind me, I'm going to enforce it. With the right application of truth serum, hallucinogenic drugs, and physical interrogation techniques, we can know within minutes what your belief level is. And if it's not incredibly high, well, doom on you, Jack, because you're going to be spending Easter in a box. So get busy. Dye those eggs. Wave those flags. Because if you don't, there'll be hell to pay. Remember, folks, believe in the Easter Bunny. It's the American thing to do.
This is called The Aryan Dream Boy Takes It Up the Ass. I saw it all last night through the window, and you can't deny that you get your filthy little kicks in the most exquisitely queer ways. Oh yeah, you sure did scream when that dark sweet boy did things to you that I didn't even know had a name. That dark sweet boy you'd demand to have exterminated by daylight sure does one hell of a number on you when the sun goes down. Everyone could hear you screaming. You even yelled a girl's name to cover up your sins, but you forgot to close the curtains, didn't you, pale boy? You're all alike, you repressive types, drawn to the sins you brave the loudest against. Drawn to cock crimes and boy flesh and prick talk. Tomorrow you'll be hustling your cheap game again. Death to race mixing! Death to queers! Death, death, death! Christ, what a bore! I'd rather watch you get screwed again by that dark-skinned angel who held your soul in one hand and the Vaseline in the other, making you beg for it, making you scream in the night, even whipping your ass into submission. I hear 9 out of 10 dictators dig rough trade, and submit you did. Bending over the bed and shrieking aloud when he thrusts deep inside like a hard, fleshy knife. Fierce desire burns behind your swastika eyes as he fucked you like the dog you really are. But today, your canned Nazi rhetoric slices the air like an ancient razor blade, and everything's back to normal, except that I'll always see you like I did last night, begging for your dark master on worn-out knees without a shred of dignity, being consumed in the scorching flames of that very thing that you'd most like to see burn in hell.
Robert, fuck me hard. You pussy pounding motherfucker, fuck me hard, harder, faster. I want you to fuck me hard, fuck me, you bastard, yes. Robert, fuck me hard, you pussy pounding.
I wanna suck your dick, stick it in my mouth, you pussy mucking motherfucker.
Fuck me.
Yes, right, pack my fudge, you fart knocking bitch, bitch, fuck me, bitch, fuck me hard.
Yes. Robert, fuck me hard. You pussy pounding motherfucker, fuck me hard, hell yes. Yes, oh, I want you to fuck me hard. Robert, fuck me.
Fuck me, bitch, fuck me, bitch, fuck me, bitch, fuck me, goddamn you, like me, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, fuck me hard, harder, 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 fuck me, goddamn you, like me, you son of a bitch, fuck me hard, harder, 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 fuck me, God. My fudge, bitch, pack my fudge, bitch, pack my fudge, bitch. Goddamn you, like me, I'm coming, yes, I am coming, yes.
Hi, you've reached the apartment of Robert. I'm not in right now, or I can't come to the phone, but if you leave your name and a message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Robert. Robert, I have made my offer, and I think it is very generous, yet I have not heard from you. I am a man of means. I will get what I want. My wife has slipped into a coma, which is good because I will no longer have to get her permission for you to bone her. I am also willing to sweeten the deal. I will provide the lubricant. My dog now is very randy indeed. I will pay you $200. Plus I will throw in $50 as a bonus. Ha ha ha. My daughter, on the other hand, is a problem. She is developing breast quickly. So you must fuck her soon before she hit puberty, or it's no money for you. Big goose egg. Meta. Go Pendu. As for coming on your ass, I will withdraw my offer. I will control myself, or try, you little funny-eared Hungarian. I will control my animal urges. I will control them until you are more comfortable with them. But for $75, I would like you to dress up like a cowboy when you fill my comatose wife with your love gunk. That is $325. Take it or leave it. I hope to hear from you soon, or else. Cutie.
Hi, this is Robert, and if you leave your name and a message, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Robert, I am very upset. Soon I will send out my associates, and they can be persuasive indeed if you get my meaning. I hope this will be all the more warning you will need. I will also increase my previous offer as encouragement for you to agree to my current terms. You see, my funny-eared cutie, my wife has died, which will be profitable for you. I have exhumed her corpse. I will pay you $200.39 to dine it, but you must provide the condom. Sure, cottage cheese like gray matter will probably run out of her ears while you fill her with your sex cheese, but this is very good money. My long-nosed collie still longingly waits for you to give her a bone. If you do not satisfy her carnal urges, soon I will send an associate, and then it will be a dog day for you, cutie. For this act of animal husbandry, I will give you $159.61. Plus I will throw in a bonus of $15.79 as above average dick size bonus, despite what you and I know, Mr. at least 6 inches. As for my daughter, you have missed your window of opportunity. She has developed large shapely breast, so it is no money for you. Yes, opportunity mark, but you did not answer, so you will not be knocking on her back door. As for my offer to come on your ass, I can clearly see you intend to make me satisfy myself. Fine, have it your way, Mr. Hurry Ass. I insist you immediately send me a photo. Polaroid is good, but 35mm is better, of your hairy ass. I will blow my fuck gunk on the picture if I cannot have the real thing. I will pay you $42.73 for this service. I will also reimburse you for your expenses, so please enclose the receipts with the photograph. That's $380.89 I will pay for these services, or my associates will pay you a visit, and in the end you will beg to dine my wife's rotting corpse. You will howl to pound my pooch, and cry for me to come on your sweet hairy ass. I better hear from you soon. Call me at 443-933.
That's all, folks.
Hello, I'm Mr. Bear. And I'm Miss Monkey. and we are here today with our friend Fury to tell you about the failure of capitalism in America.
Is that what we're here to talk about? I thought we were here to talk about the three pigs.
No, we're not telling that story today. We're talking about the failure of capitalism in America.
But it's a democratic puppet show.
No, it's not. This is America. Fury? Fury? Here I am, Mr. Bear. What are we talking about today? Well, let's talk about capitalism and why it, like many other governmental systems, is failing. Okay? But capitalism's not a governmental system, Mr. Bear. So you say. I'll be right back. Why, thank you, Mr. Bear. The reason that capitalism as a social and governmental system in America is not doing so well these days is this right here. Well, that hurts, doesn't it? Oh, that just hurts. Oh, don't you just hate to see that? Oh, that sucks, doesn't it? Oh, oh no. I'll eat this one. Wonder what that's done. Oh, that was horrible. Oh, okay. Not to beat this to death, the reason you hate to see this is because you've bought into a certain idea that this little green piece of paper has value. And this right here, this is completely illegal. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many federal crimes that is. That's a pile of them. Quite a few right there. That's actually not legal to deface money. The interesting thing there is that there's no argument really about whether or not this little green piece of paper is mine. It's mine. And if someone tried to steal it from me and I wanted to sue them, then I could drag them right into court and sue them for stealing it. But the problem comes in, why then is it illegal for me to destroy my property? If I want to take, say, Miss Giraffe, oh no, please don't, no, not me. And I want to destroy Miss Giraffe, well, she's my giraffe, and I can destroy her if I want to. Of course, that gets into issues of slavery, but that's a whole other story. However, why is it illegal then to destroy this little piece of paper? That is, no one would disagree, obviously, mine. Well, what that gets into is issues of the idea behind money. If you look at a dollar, you can see here that on it, it says United States of America, and right above it, it says Federal Reserve Note. Now, I don't know if you took a civics or economics or history class, but what that would theoretically mean is that the Federal Reserve has gold to cover that dollar, which it doesn't anymore. But theoretically, the Federal Reserve should have objects of value, normally in gold bullion, to cover that dollar. And theoretically, you should be able to trot on down to the Federal Reserve and say, give me my gold, here's all my dollars, and they should give you gold equivalent to that. I don't even know if they'll do that anymore. I know that if everyone in the world wanted to go and get their dollars covered with federal gold instead of having little pieces of paper, everyone would be SOL there. Well, the problem with capitalism in America is that what is illegal about tearing up this money is you are insulting an idea. You are insulting the American government's idea that that dollar is money and is, as they say on it, legal tender for all debts, public and private, as they say, and they don't like to have that idea insulted. Let's go ahead and get back to our troop of happy friends here who can show us a little bit more about that. La da 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 da, la 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 la. Well, hello, Miss Kangaroo.
Well, hello, Miss Giraffe.
Where are you going?
Oh, I was just going for a walk today. La la la.
Oh, no, you're not.
Why not?
Well, because I came up to you to say, I have some children in Afghanistan that I would like to bomb, and I don't really have the money to do that. So could you give me $10, please?
Oh, no, I don't want to bomb children.
Well, I'm sorry. Since I'm the U.S. government, you have to give me the money.
But I don't want to.
But you have to.
But I don't want to. I won't. You can't make me.
Well, okay then. We'll throw you in jail. Anybody see the problem here? If an individual were to come up to you and ask you for money to do something that you didn't believe in and didn't want to do, you would have every right to tell them to go away. As a matter of fact, we have laws stating how telemarketers have to operate. And they're very strict laws, though not always enforced quite how I'd like to see them enforced. saying, no, you can't do that. No, you can't solicit money for people for things that they just plain flat tell you no on. The American government, on the other hand, is allowed to give you the money, and they're allowed to take the money away. I guess that explains the whole flouting of separation of church and state on the back of this dollar bill that says, "In God we trust." I thought there was separation of church and state. I guess I was confused. Yeah, confused. So the government can give and take away, just like God, apparently. Okay, another problem.
Oh, I don't know if I want to buy into this whole money system. That's okay. I think I'll just be homeless.
Hold it right there. You're not allowed to just be homeless if you want to.
But, I want to?
No, we have vagrancy laws. If you don't have money, we can throw you in jail.
You mean, and feed me?
Yeah, and feed you.
And give me the shelter that I don't have money for?
Yeah.
And showers and heat?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Well, okay, that doesn't sound so bad after all. Go ahead and throw me in jail. Yay, let's go.
Oh, okay. Is anybody else confused by this besides me? The government says if you don't have the money, then you can't have food. If you go get food, you're stealing it. You can't have water or shelter, see above, and you can't own land if you don't have money. Wait a minute, what if you bought the land? But you still have money because you still have to pay taxes. Remember to balm the children and build the roads and all the other stuff? Okay, interesting. So if someone tells you that unless you believe in a certain idea, remember the idea, you cannot have food or water or shelter or clothing or own property, all that has to do is make me wonder who's the terrorist here. You know, who is exactly the terrorist here? Because if someone tells you that without believing in their idea you cannot have food, water, shelter, in other words, you cannot have what you need to live, they're basically threatening you for your life. So, again, I ask you, who's the terrorist here? Thank you very much. We have very much enjoyed having you here, and we would like to offer our thanks to all the members of Community Access for putting up with the bizarrity brought to you by Fury. And
all of us. Bye now. See you next week.
bye.
Bye. All done.
Hi, I'm back. And I brought Velcro today. Her job is to be sickeningly cute to ameliorate the impact of the horrible things that I always come to tell you. Someday I'll come to tell you guys something happy, but first I have to have something happy happen. But anyway, I'm here to bring you the Asylum report about a little thing that I like to call the Triangle of Evil, taking place happily in modern America. You ever wonder about drug legalization in America? It's kind of an interesting subject. There's all these drugs that are completely illegal and all these drugs that are legal, and when you look at actually the effects of the drug, for the most part, for me anyway, it's really hard to find a legitimate reason why any particular drug should be legal or illegal based on its actual amount of harm that it does. We have drugs that are legal that, if used regularly or for too long or are misused, actually do a lot more harm in the long term to you than some of the illegal drugs. In the long, I don't understand really at all, well, I didn't understand until drinking way too much coffee this morning, exactly where this comes from. And I got to thinking about it after having way too much coffee this morning, and then I realized, oh, of course. If anyone's seen the movie The Cube, it's what I like to call a headless blunder operating under the illusion of a master plan. Everyone remember that quote from The Cube? I don't believe, really, I'm afraid to believe, really, that it's exactly a conspiracy, per se, but it's really more a question of a certain mindset creating a reality wherein there's an illusion of a conspiracy. And here's what I mean. The three major addictive drugs in America that are legal, I've brought with me some examples today, are, of course, our favorite, alcohol, and, of course, then over here, we have nicotine. Yay. And then, of course, there's always everyone's favorite, and what I'm currently under the influence of right now. Yay, caffeine. I'll put a little coffee cup here. This little saucer. Okay. Here's our little triangle of evil. And here's why. When you start thinking about the effects of these drugs on people, first off, you've got your alcohol. And here we have modern America being a very stressed, repressed society with a lot of artificial limitations on our social behavior. And we're a pretty angry people as a whole because we're asked to do a lot of things that are sort of against human nature. Like, as an example, our fight or flight response says that if someone is irritating the ever-living heck out of you, what you should do is either run from them if they seem to be dominant over you, or you should stomp on them for a while if they don't seem to be dominant over you. But yet we're asked to put up with things like really annoying, inept bosses who torture us on a daily basis, and we're asked to suppress our normal stress, fight, or flight response there, and alcohol helps us with that. Nicotine also is a big help. You know, I've seen so many people get into horribly stressful situations with tight deadlines, tight arbitrary deadlines at that, and fights with the same bosses that we've discussed earlier, and all kinds of entertainingly stressful situations. And instead of sitting down and taking a deep breath and thinking over it and meditating and realizing, wait a minute, maybe this is just a situation I don't want to be in, instead their response to that is to go smoke a cigarette. And then, of course, you have your caffeine. I was reading on the internet this morning, you know, we always believe everything we read on the internet, that America is the most sleep-deprived people in the world. If you just count number of hours of sleep per week that we get, and if you count how messed up our sleep schedules are, how varied from day to day, you might be able to snatch some sleep in the afternoon one day, and then the next day they schedule you to open instead of close at your flex schedule job, and all of a sudden you're snatching sleep from 3 to 8 in the morning, or whatever. And we're asked to do all these things, and what we always give up on is sleep. If we have to cut anything out, we cut out our sleep. So caffeine allows us to do that. It's a stimulant. It's just as potent as any speed out there. So we have our little triangle of evil here. Talking a little more about the effects of these drugs, when you have alcohol to sort of numb the pain and humiliation of living in modern American society, you have nicotine to take the edge off of stress. These are the medicinal, actual medical effects of these drugs. I'm not making this up. I looked it up this morning. Nicotine is a stress reliever, and furthermore, it's a very odd drug in that it can act as a stimulant or on a sedative, depending on your current state of mind at the time that you're using it, which is a very interesting thing. And then, of course, you have caffeine, which allows you to focus more sharply and allows you to drive your body physically beyond what it would normally be able to do. Of course, it also makes you irritable and hostile and vicious, which of course necessitates the nicotine. And then after you've suppressed all that stress and driven yourself beyond what you need to do, and you've got yourself pretty wired up, at the end of the day, you go home, you sit down, you watch some wrestling to take out your aggression, or some football, and then you sit down there and you drink your six-pack of beer to kind of calm you back down. So the entirety of America, I hardly know anyone who doesn't use at least 2 out of the 3 of this little triangle of evil we have here. And then, if your mindset still hasn't been corrected by the non-prescription legal drugs, we have Prozac, and we have Seroquel, we have Depakote. We have all kinds of wonderful drugs that if we still haven't managed to warp your mindset into what we need you to be in order to be a good, productive capitalist and work your butt off and then die soon enough you can be replaced by a newer, younger, more efficient worker, then we can always just warp your brain into what we need you to be instead by giving you some prescription drugs as well, which I have reason to know myself. They're more than happy to hand out like candy. And I've noticed a tendency in the medical profession as well that they don't even seem to want to know. Psychologists and psychiatrists alike, I've talked to quite a few of both professions, they don't seem terribly interested in the fact that, maybe in a world where there's 47 Florida Panthers left and there's a giant hole in the ozone, but we've known about that since the 80s. We're not worried about that anymore. And crazed warmongers in office trying to kill each other with nukes and biological weapons. Maybe depression would be the natural state of mind for your average aware human being. They don't seem to be really interested as a whole in diagnosing the society as an ill society. They seem to be a little bit more interested in medicating the people in order to warp themselves. So it's just a thought I brought to throw at you that, isn't it interesting? You might want to go on the internet and look up the statistics on exactly how much breast cancer and brain damage over time is caused by caffeine, what it does to your sleep cycles. It actually causes insomnia and all other kinds of unpleasant things over time. Might want to take a look, of course, on the statistics regarding the effects of alcohol. And then, of course, we have the smoke-free Fayetteville versus the free choice Fayetteville thing going on over nicotine, which basically, though I did sign a little petition saying, yes, we should have free choice, because I'm an anarchist and I believe we should always have free choice, what the choice comes down to, if you read the ingredients on these things, when they'll even put ingredients on them, frighteningly enough, is that it's the choice whether you want to kill yourself or not, is what it comes down to. Nothing inherently harmful about tobacco. Tobacco's fine, but all the extra stuff that they put in the cigarettes on purpose for various manufacturing and storage purposes kill you pretty darn quick. So we think about that, and then if any of you are on any prescription drugs, think about that, and then maybe I would love to see people sort of consider changing the society instead of trying to change themselves to fit the society. Meanwhile, Velcro the kitten has come to sort of calm you down after that embittered, vicious rant. See, I'm cute. I'm cute. I'm really cute. You know, kittens and petting pets and animals and hugging friends and relatives that you care about has on your blood pressure and on your heart rate and brainwaves the same effect as smoking a cigarette. So I say we should hand out kittens. And no tax. There's no tax on the kittens. Just think about it. All right, well, till next week. Bye. And cute. You are cute.
And on July 1st, 2003, as reported by the Northwest Arkansas Times, Bob Emeninger was quoted as saying that at a Friends for Fayetteville board meeting, he was recounting what he had seen on the Abbey of the Lemur, when fellow board members encouraged him to file a complaint. I've been urged to follow this through, he said. And that very same day, a letter came into the CAD offices and an email came into the CAD offices and was circulated around Fayetteville, most notably to the Fayetteville government, and I myself got a copy. And it said, this was from a member of Friends for Fayetteville, who said, "My apologies for the erroneous article in today's Northwest Arkansas Times. It is based entirely on fiction. No one on the Friends for Fayetteville board except Hugh Ernest, our city's administrator, our city's chief administrator, encouraged Bob Emeninger to file that complaint. It is my understanding," this person further went on to say, "that the mayor also called Bob and asked him to file it. I privately discouraged Bob and asked him to drop the issue on several occasions." That is a direct quote. The Emeninger flap is basically dead in water. It's a dead issue. It was resolved back in early July, but the repercussions still continue. Now, we've heard complaints from several people who've said, "Why don't you just drop this? You know, come on now, it's over." Well, Is it over? Good question. We've had all kinds of crap going on, and a lot of it seems to involve the fact that the same parties who precipitated this little kangaroo court against the Abbey of the Lemur are also trying to push the creation of an arts channel, which, according to some, would possibly be used to replace public access, this least access arts channel. Which, I mean, if you want to take a look at the people who've processed this whole thing, from Emma Egger and Hugh Ernest, and possibly, if this person from Friends for Fayetteville's email is to be believed, Mayor Cootie, to, oh God, I don't know, just probably the gentrification crowd in general. They would like to replace public access with this kind of least access art channel, and judging from these people's and their media lapdogs line of thought, oh boy. I mean, basically what you got is an arts channel being given to us here in Fayetteville by folks who don't understand any of the art movements, can't wrap their heads around satire, or at least that's the story they're going with. And, well, I guess that's about typical, is art's being put in the hands of these kind of panty-waist bourgeois academia who do not themselves understand art. I guess that's about par for the course. How much do you suspect that out of the next 2 years of Cox's 2-year plan, this least access art channel, which of course is arbitrarily directed, and the public, you folks, don't get your say, don't get your voice heard, how much of a chunk do you suppose this channel is going to eat out of the general fund or the franchise fees? And how much do you suppose will be subtracted from public access? You afraid of losing your voice? Well, perhaps you should be. And, they'll probably get, the Waltons and, the estate of Bernice Jones and whoever to piggyback onto this whole schmeal. But, all things considered, if you look at broadband and the capabilities of it, we could have 12 peg channels instead of just 3. But do Cox want to go for that kind of thing? No, there's really no money in it for them, which, the bottom line is the bottom line. But it all goes back to our old buddies in the gentrification crowd and their methods of cutting the riffraff out of it. Well, we are the riffraff, and damned if we aren't going to tell the story as it is. As far as the Lemur group, I guess we have the cute one, the funny one, the scary one, the dangerous one, etc., etc., etc. I like to think of myself as the untalented one. As if I have a main talent in this group, it's that I surround myself with people who are more talented, more charismatic than me. What can I tell you? I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I have no real oratory skills. Probably the best thing I have going for me is that I know how to use information as a weapon. And on that note, I have an editing bay and I know how to use it. Well, I want to throw out a little dance mix for all of y'all. And for your dining and dancing pleasure, take a look at what the pigs have planned for us and enjoy.
Broad public, broad public, broad public. Community standards.
Community standards.
Community standards.
Hearing justice is the politics of exclusion. The politics of exclusion.
Well, I think Greg Hart did a very good article last Sunday and really captured what maybe the problem is.
That makes one of us.
The politics of exclusion. The politics of exclusion. The politics of exclusion. The politics of exclusion.
And for the grammaticians among you, that was a colon followed by 2 semicolons separating 3 dangling clauses. Ow! This is an editor of a newspaper, folks.
Is the politics of exclusion. The politics of exclusion.
24 hours of real estate commercials. Think of that as a wave of the future.
I understand free expression, I understand content, neutral, etc. But I tell you what, sometimes when I watch it and there's no message, it's 2 drunk guys in lawn chairs in the middle of the night just cussing at each other. I'm thinking, you know, where is the message? Where is the First Amendment need? Where's the exercise for freedom of expression here?
Someone, you know, if a new family came to town who was looking for an executive position here in Fayetteville, and they happened to go to the Radisson Hotel, and they tuned in and saw that particular one, not the other one, that particular one, I wonder what kind of an impression they might get of Fayetteville and say, where's this coming from? What's coming down the street here at our little local program?
So much of it boils down to class, it's not funny.
Broad public, broad public, broad public.
That the station is perceived in the public's eyes.
For the feedback we get from the public.
I'm just a little leery of words that paint a picture with a broad brush.
I would like to know your definition of the public.
People talk about a specific part of the community, and it's the quote-unquote merchant or professional class. They're not talking about the working class. They're not talking about ordinary folks.
I would like to know your definition of the public. Your definition of the public. Your definition of the public. Your definition of the public.
Maybe the problem is. I would say the city council seems to represent the public.
It is my understanding, this person further went on to say, that the mayor also called Bob and asked him to file it.
And I would say that the administration certainly is sensitive to the public.
Hugh Ernest, the gentrification crowd.
And I'm not sure even how Cox feels about it.
I think that may be immaterial.
It may or may not be.
It's a forest and tree study. I know it's hard for y'all to see, because you're right there. And this is the only thing you're focused on. And to some extent, you're novices at this. A statement from somebody in some official capacity to this person or publicly that says Cox doesn't have anything to do with the content of these programs and should not have it hung around their neck.
I'm not sure what the complaint is, but just to restate that, Cox does not have anything to do with the content on the community access television station.
Please, and that'll be reflected in the minutes, and that will at least be in the public record, because, you know, this is important. Our image and our, as providing programming in the community is important to us.
One thing that I was directed to ask about was on your chart here that shows all of the nonprofits and the reasons. Under ours it says a possible alternative would be used to funding a citywide communication study, and I was asked to ask, was this a recommendation that came from the Telecommunications Board?
Steve, can you answer that? Or Hugh here or someone? Hugh would be better to answer that question.
Hugh Ernest.
I found that they tend to operate with a lot of smoke and mirrors, attempting to actively conceal what their real intentions are and what they're really doing. It was certainly my sense that happened with the Wilson Springs issue. So I would have to give an urgent plea of support for what Mr. Bunis was saying about the most open public process possible because I personally simply do not trust the mayor's office or the upper levels of the city administrators based on the actions I've seen of theirs in the past.
There are people outside of this room who are very interested in arts, on an arts channel, for instance. We could use up and down the corridors. On an arts channel, for instance.
This is a personal note. I've been watching public access from the day it came on in 1980, and even before I was a board member or producer. And over the years, especially since I've been on the board, people have come up to me and said, sure would like it if Fayetteville had an arts channel. And I just look at them and I say, what's on public access this week? And a blank look kind of goes over their face, and their eyes start to roll back in their head because they have no idea. For 23 years, public access has been a true arts channel in this community, and we have provided arts, not arts funding, but we have covered the arts for people, artists, regardless of their income level, regardless of where they come from. Anyone in the community who's an artist has been covered on public access, whether it's Fayetteville Open Channel, Access for Fayetteville, or Community Access Television. And now as then, we continue to serve as an arts channel.
On an arts channel, for instance. On an arts channel, for instance.
After some of the controversy that's been going on with CAT and the Abbey Lemur program in the last few weeks in this community, I've heard all kinds of rumors about why the complaints were made, who was behind them, attempts to kill public access here in Fayetteville. Rumors that I consider very disturbing. And again, I would not in the least trust either the mayor's office or the city administrators to defend public access.
Okay.
Could you repeat the question? What was it?
The reason it talks about a possible alternative would be to use the funding from the citywide communication study. That's talking about justification of the funding process.
Yeah, I saw that. You don't
and none of us know the interest that we just received this. So.
This didn't come from budget.
The reasons that this spreadsheet was a result of all the departments getting together and collaborative work. I just got back in town this morning, so I'm not really up to speed with all.
This seems to suggest we pay for another study.
All I wish to end with is thank you for allowing comment on this, and follow the money, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, and it probably is a good opportunity at this time to review all these things, these public service initiatives that we just kind of, that have been kind of a legacy from the past.
Keep us good and keep
goodbye to your things. Say goodbye to rest. Be a careless of yourself. Be a piece of meat.